You know what I started noticing? A lot of people say they want respect, but the second they don't get treated like some sort of genius immediately, they start unraveling, right? Almost instantly. Say you post 3 videos, you getting your groove on. Now you're just staring at the ceiling like Travis Bickle, right? And what I mean is, you say things to yourself like maybe they just don't understand me. Maybe I'm different. Like no, you are not different, right? How about maybe you just started? You know, that's possible too, right? Nobody want to hear that though. Everybody wants the montage. Nobody wants the nobody wants to be in the stage where they're just regular. They don't want to be the regular dude. That's the stage where people start acting weird. They start acting different, right? You know who this reminds me of? It reminds me of Kiba from Naruto. And I know a lot of people forgot about Kiba. No one talks about Kiba on on the internet, right? And that's exactly why he is perfect for this. Because Kiba genuinely thought he was one of them one. He thought he was the main guys, like for real. Early Naruto, he had confidence. Low key, he low on the lowest of keys. He had aura. I love that term. He had aura though. He had aggression. He had that dog, beside him, but in him too, right? And he just believed he had everything. And he thought to himself like he was probably him. He thought he was one of them ones, right? Then obviously show keeps going. And slowly and surely reality starts kicking in. Naruto passes him. Okay. Oh shit. He's the main character. Okay. Sasuke passes him. Oh. Neji passes him. Oh. Lee passes him. Damn, Tenten. I can't say Tenten. But all these other characters are passing him, and his screen time is just being diminished, right? And at a certain point, bro just became the guy with the dog, the guy with the big mutt, right? And for him, that was probably a horrifying realization. And I'm sorry, this is sad. Like, imagine thinking you were one of the chosen ones, right? And then 200 episodes later, people only remember you because of your bed, right? Like that would destroy you mentally, psychologically, right? And honestly, and that's what happens. That's what happens to people in real life, right? And it happens all the time. People don't mind starting at the bottom, right? We don't really mind starting at the bottom, but what we do mind is being normal for too long. We don't want to be normal for a while, right? That part kind of hurts because in our head, right, we already saw the future version of ourselves, right? You already saw the respect. You saw the edits. You saw the praise. You saw the comments like, bro is underrated, right? We had the mysterious aura music playing behind our existence, right? We already saw that. So when reality hits you with the it hits you with the nah, bro, you still kind of made it right now, right? You still kind of regular. It feels offensive, right? It feels kind of offensive, and social media really made it infinitely worse. Because now everybody thinks visibility and respect are the same thing. Like, no, they are not. Not at all, right? Somebody noticing you and somebody respecting you are completely different experiences, right? People notice crash outs every day. you know, we know a lot of crash outs, but that don't mean they are respected. No one No one respects Charleston White, right? No one, no one respects all these crash outs, right? And you see this especially with creative people, unfortunately. And obviously, I'm not exempt for this. I'm not extreme with it, but I'm not exempt, right? But creative people are literally the worst at this. You make one decent thing, and now suddenly your emotional need for people to validate your genius is almost immediate. Like, calm down, relax. Like, you made a cool TikTok. You made a vibey, aesthetic video. Maybe your artwork is just so great to yourself, right? And, that's good. Small projects, baby steps, right? But Martin Scorsese isn't trembling in his boots. He's not. He's not overjoyed. He's not excited to see you. So, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but like, calm down. Chill out, relax, right? And if I'm being honest, right, I think a lot of people start creating for respect instead of curiosity per se, right? That's why I feel like a lot of people burn out so fast because if the attention don't come almost immediately, they emotionally collapse. Now suddenly maybe they're saying things like maybe content isn't for me, right? No, not right. Maybe you just uploaded 3 times. Maybe you just uploaded 5 times, right? 5 uploads, even 10, even 15 means nothing. You just started. You haven't become annoying yet, right? And from my view, I just started. It's my first day out here, right? But from my view, that's usually when things start working. You know, once people get tired of seeing you, that's literally how recognition works. You just keep appearing over and over and over and over. You know what I mean? Like, you just show up like a damn roach. You know what I mean? Like, just annoying. Respect is repetition, and that's all it is, right? Repeated proof, repeated competence, repeated presence, right? Nobody respects potential for long. Eventually, people want evidence. They want that evidence. And you know who understood this horribly? My guy Light Yagami. Saying my guy is crazy because he's a case for sure. But he's a great example. He's another great example because yes, I know he had a death note, but that's not the point, right? The point is Light couldn't stand not being seen as exceptional. He couldn't stand it. Bro was addicted to superiority, to say the least. He needed to feel above everyone constantly, right? That's why every little challenge became personal. He took it to heart, right? That's why Near irritated him so bad. Like, that's why L irritated him so bad. Like, because because when your identity is I'm supposed to be the smartest person in the room, in every room, right? Normal competition feels disrespectful. It feels like you're surrounded by a bunch of flies who think they're at the same level as you, which is crazy. And a lot of people move like that quietly, all right? They have that quiet superiority complex, the most dangerous kind, right? The type where you don't even improve anymore, right? You just protect your ego now. And now you're avoiding trying new things, which is not good. It's a negative, right? You avoid posting, you avoid being a beginner because beginners don't get respect, unfortunately, right? And your ego can't survive that. They really can't. Like, that's why people secretly love potential. They love the word potential, right? Because potential is safe, you know? Potential lets you fantasize without being accountable, right? You say things like, "Oh, bro, if I really tried, if I put my heart in it, just give me one chance." Like, yeah, okay, yeah. Everybody got that speech. Everybody said that speech at one point of their lives, right? Potential is potential is beautiful. It's potential is a beautiful apartment nobody lives in, right? At some point, you gotta bring furniture in. Is what I'm saying. All right, and honestly, the funniest people be the ones demanding respect early, right? They be the earliest to demand respect. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes you're Kanye West, sometimes you're not. You know what I mean? But you be having, bro, you be having, pe- but you be having people who just started reading philosophy now, They just started reading philosophy yesterday, right? And now every Instagram post is some quote from some famous poet, maybe. Maybe they're smoking cigars. They got cigarette smoke all in the air, Maybe throw up a berserk panel for all them. If you know, you know. Some rain sounds maybe. Like you're not Malcolm X, right? No, I'm playing. You work at Target. No, I'm playing. No wrong with working at Target. But shit. Or the dudes who hit the gym for like 13 minutes, right? And now suddenly every conversation is about discipline, Like, brother, your body is still shaped like a water balloon. Relax, calm down. You just discovered protein. The real Patrick Star. I was like, but I get it though, right? I really do. I'll be joking around, but I really do get it because respect feels stabilizing, right? It makes people feel real. People think if people acknowledge me, then maybe I matter, you know? Maybe I'm important, right? And that's really what's underneath a lot of this. And to me, that's really dark, Because now your entire self worth depends on external reaction. And to me, that's just Dante's Inferno for real, honestly. Especially online, because online is the worst place to build identity. And the internet it wakes up in different moods every 14 seconds. One day they love you, one day you're the fan favorite. And then the next day they are memeing you. They kirkifying you. I don't know. Right? But that's not a stable foundation. And you know who actually changed in one of the most interesting ways though? Thorfinn from Vinland Saga, right? Pop up in the screen. But Thorfinn from Vinland Saga, right? Early Thorfinn desperately wanted acknowledgement through violence. Dustin, he grew up in violence, so that's all he knew, and everything was about just looking how dangerous he was. How much pain did he carry? Right? Look how serious he looked. Oh my God! Look at this little kid. Right? Then life beats the ego out of him slowly, right? And by the time he actually matures, he barely even cares about looking impressive anymore. And to me, that's real growth, right? Real growth usually makes people quieter, not louder, right? That's why truly skilled people sometimes seem almost underwhelming at first. They're not performing important constantly, right? They're not begging the room to notice them. They just are who they are, right? Meanwhile, insecure people gotta remind everybody every 6 seconds. And, that can be pretty exhausting if you're a friend of someone who is very insecure and, always gotta acknowledge their accomplishments for them to feel better, right? And honestly, I would say the beginning of anything really humiliates you, right? And that's just a normal occurrence. You're gonna look inexperienced. You're gonna say some dumb stuff. You're gonna make weak work, right? That's good. I think that's good. That's a positive. That's human. People trying to People are trying to skip being visibly imperfect, right? That's why everybody looks emotionally constipated online right now, right? Nobody willing to look stupid anymore. They don't want to embarrass themselves anymore, which is tragic. It's in my eyes, right? Because looking stupid publicly is almost required at this point to become good at anything. And that's just unfortunate if you don't like that, but it's just the case. Like, that's why I think a lot of people don't actually want mastery. They want the aesthetic of mastery, right? The respect, the aura. I had to bring that one back. But the perception, right? But the actual process is actually repetitive. It's embarrassing. It's slow. It's boring, right? Nobody claps most of the time. That's the part they usually skip showing. So, yeah, maybe people don't respect you yet. Who cares, right? You're probably still in the building stage. And honestly, that phase lasts longer than people think, right? It might take you months, even years, right? And I believe that's the dangerous part that gets to your ego, and it gets you impatient before your actual skills catches up. And that's when people start crashing out online, right? And that's when people start being pretenders. They, what's the term? They be LARPers, right? That's when people start building personalities instead of actual abilities. And I believe that road gets ugly fast. That road ends quickly. Actually, it's no long term stability on that road, right? And it's just a, it just turns ugly.